Greetings and salutations. Hey! Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. This is Live with Lamar. I hope everything has been amazing, of course, since the last time we spoke. I say that every time because I really do mean it. I hope you guys know that I really, really mean it. And all the people who watch, I hope that it has the effect on you in which I'm trying to translate. I hope that everything continues to open up and awareness continues to be the focus, of course. I hope that everything has been magical since the last time you've seen my face. This week has been very interesting. Actually, it's been 2 weeks since I last recorded, and particularly because it's been so chaotic, I've been sort of having to I've been going in and out of what I refer to as my cancer shell, in moments of like uncertainty or moments of like heavy emotional downloads, I should say. Those moments I sort of retreat into a corner, and I like to sort of create a lot of quietness and sort of hone in on what's going on in an effort to make sense of it. And sometimes it's just important just to be the watcher and just to allow this situation to blow over and sort of be there as a witness until it's all over, and then you could say, okay, I see what that was now it makes sense, as opposed to trying to dissect and analyze and label what these things are. And that actually brings me into what today's focus is in general, and that's labeling and the effect that has on you, your spirit, and the day, of course. And the day, I mean like the day as a whole, like today being Wednesday, October 17th, and what labeling will do to me in today's day. I just want to start off by talking and going into specifics about just that. And when we wake up in the morning, the first thing, what we put into our brains, what we look at, what we watch, our morning routine is very important. That generally sets the tone for the day. It sets the mood. It sets, generally everything that is going to be in motion today. You are essentially creating all of that the very first moment you open your eyes, and you have to ask yourself, what are you doing with that time? And I am not impartial to sort of like a laggy routine. I've been being pretty hard on myself and trying to establish a grounded situation in what I'm doing when I'm waking up, as far as, waking up, first things first, reading the affirmations, praying, and being thanks to the Almighty Yahweh, and for everything that is and everything that's not, of course. And then just sort of going through the affirmations. I personally have a few that I just read on a daily basis that I found on Instagram. Just browsing, of course, when you make sure that you like what you want to see more often, and when you see posts that you don't like, you sort of press see for your post. So basically my Instagram was full of like all of this spiritual stuff. Every so often I get like a fashion post, and then every so often I get like a post about rap or something involving a female rapper, which I won't get into because that will take me away from the subject of this video, of course. And so yeah, I do the affirmations. I'm reading those. I have the tea, and I do some morning exercises, and just sort of try to breathe and try to welcome in the day, as opposed to waking up and thinking, oh, hey, I have work. Oh my gosh, it's gonna suck. I work with so-and-so today. That's that. Going down this sort of tangent of things, or watching videos or watching other people's stories who turned up last night, or who is going to be swearing or yelling or all those things, checking them out, and then having that affect your aura. And we all like to think that we are superhumans, and we are essentially, and we like to think that, I say that in the way that we like to think that because we don't recognize how susceptible we are to outside influences, and what the outside influences will have, how those experiences will have an effect on who we are and how we feel and what what we give to the world and whether or not we can pursue our actual goals and align with our true purpose. Um, it's important because, I mean, like I said, we wake up, we're like, there are different kinds of people, of course, people who have the routine, others who don't, and the people who are somewhere in the middle. We wake up and we decide what the day was going to be before we even experienced it based on the past, and we always want to make sure that we're staying open-minded in that regard because, when we label today off of what was yesterday, we sort of get a repeat of what was yesterday, and especially that's not any good if we don't want that and we're actually looking to move forward. And it's just, it goes into different things like, say for instance, we're having an experience with a person at work or a colleague or a coworker, and we're having a hard time interacting with them, and in our head we're calling them all these things, they're this, they're that, what the hell, like, all these things that we could think of. I mean, I can go on for days about all the bad names that I could think of to call someone in a moment where I'm not feeling my best. I'm sure we all have that moment or not, and to where, like, we're labeling all these things, and that's actually making the situation a lot worse. That's actually making the anger that much more intense. It's actually connecting this person who I'm labeling to me, because labeling is a form of judgment, and judgment takes you away from God, because judgment is essentially the ego, which stands for edging God out, and God is love, presence is love, and love is God. All those things are one, and so I don't want you guys to get misconstrued when I bring up God in the way of religion, because it's not what this is about. This is about something that's much more closer connected to who we are individually, and so it's just all of that, and even like if our back hurts, we spend so much time, oh my gosh, my back hurts, it hurts, going in all of these thought processes about our back hurting, and that essentially all that's doing, all we're doing that for as humans, we do that just to make ourselves feel better with the moment, and it's a way to disconnect from this moment due to the pain, due to the agony that we may be suffering from in this moment. It's a way to disconnect and put ourselves somewhere else. But we always want to make sure that we're present, to make sure that we're giving the best and we're receiving the best. And of course, it's easier said than done. If your back is hurting and it really hurts, use that as a reminder to stay present. Of course, this is, oh my gosh, my back hurts. That's a reminder to focus on what's happening now in front of me, as opposed to putting all my attention on this pain. And sometimes it's difficult because it's a pain, it's agonizing, it's pulling away from you, it's tugging and pulling at your emotional strings, but it's all here. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that your pain is not significant, or that we're not. It's not okay to not feel a certain kind of way, because it is okay, but it's all about the engine behind it and the thought process behind it that you have while engaging in this sort of thing. It all makes a difference. And it's so difficult because a lot of the time we get caught up in the world of materialism. We've come a very, very long way, and I was watching the BET Hip Hop Awards last night, and they gave Wale a second to insert something, and he's talked about how the effect that social media has had on our spirits and on the way that we interact with people. He worded it so well that I couldn't even come close to relaying it in the way that he did, but generally the story was that we spend a lot of time on social media, and in turn that has an effect on the way that we view people. We judge them, we label them as hot or not, man crush Mondays, women crush Wednesdays, all these different terms of things, new categories of things to put people in. I remember a time where there wasn't a term, the sprinklers came on. I remember it wasn't a term, called ratchet. I mean, it wasn't as used as much, and that's just an example of how, there are different versions and different levels of things. There used to just be ghetto. Now there's this new term called ratchet. I I was okay with being ghetto, but now, you know, ratchet seems like it's a whole different level of urbanness or whatever it is. And just, you know, that whole idea and how much that has had effect on who we are as people. You know, when we are labeling and we are judging, we only can see in another person what we have in ourselves, what's available to us to see, or what's available to us to recognize. So if it's something negative that you're recognizing in this person, it's probably more often than not something that you have not worked on in yourself. That's why you're still able to see it and recognize it in someone else. So it's just important to try to elevate yourself above the world of, you know, this is better than this, I'm better than they, you know, this sort of like grouping of things and this sort of the labeling that we put on to things, because ultimately it's putting pressure on things that we don't have to. It's putting unnecessary pressure, unnecessary weight onto our spirits, onto our psyches, onto people who we love, we want to love more, and all those things. And it doesn't have to be that way, you know. I mean, this is all in an effort, of course, to lighten the load. And I can feel this sort of tingling in the back of my head as I speak this. All of this, I feel my body sort of. I feel my posture aligning and sitting up, and I feel like I feel my body vibrating as I share this with you, because this is something that is near and dear to me, because I spent a lot of time sort of in my head, you know, growing up. I had a lot of downtime, a lot of time to myself, I should say. So I've just a lot of time just to think and go over it again and again. And for myself, I'm someone who, when situations happen, I've had the tendency to sort of mull over it again and go through all these what ifs and all these different situations, and, you know, labeling the person as this to make myself feel better, or going in and talking about the situation to a million people just to get some sort of validation on how I feel, which again is taking me away from the ultimate purpose. And the ultimate purpose, again, love, God, presence, God, and love, and all of those things. So of course it's a daily thing. This is not something. It's not a plateauing thing. It's not something you do and you reach a point and you're just sort of like, oh my gosh, I'm like the Dalai Lama. That's the goal, of course, to transcend into light. However, it's always happening. It's always an engaging thing, and the more you put it out to people, the more you get that back, and it's a full circle kind of thing. So of course, in alignment with what is present and what is now, in the subject of labeling, I'm here with another poem. I just want to say, before I go into this, about the flow. I've been trying to pick up on poetry and get more into it, and establish a uniquely defined flow for myself, because it's, you know, I have not shared the poetry with anyone present, like anyone physically. So, you know, you guys are essentially my audience, and as well as, you know, sort of you guys are like the oil to my machine, sort of like you guys are giving me the fuel. You know, your feedback, your comments and things like that will help aid me and give me more of a push and keep the machine going. So in essence, going into the specifics and bringing this all full circle, this poem, I keep forgetting to name the poems. I don't even know if they need a name. I think I started off my first video saying that you don't actually need, or actually I think I said something about you guys naming the poems, or at least deciding what it means for you and that sort of thing. So I woke up and thought Sunday was Monday, but thought Monday was Sunday. Tuesday was Saturday, but thought Wednesday was Friday. Thursday was Thursday, and of course Friday was Friday, but what is today? The names of the days of the week have any significance, or is that just something to say? If it's Friday, I must have something to do or somewhere to go. How about if it's a Monday? And if the start of the week frightens me, I'm feeling like a no-call, no-show. It makes me wonder who named the days of the week. The same person who decided what's expensive or what's cheap. Words or letters, however we arrange them, tends to have a major effect on our views, or of course, by now that's not news. But sitting in my emotions, I refuse. Should I consider all the things that need to be worked on so I don't lose, or continue to sing the blues while I miss out on what I am used? You see, I realize the more I arrange the words to go against me or a person, the more immersed in the same feelings and thoughts that continue to break down men. So now no more zen, all because I had to label way back when. Yeah. I get caught up on the words because I'm so just taken back by what is written down, what the power of a pen and a thought, the power of emotion and the power of you, and the power of we and us, and honing in on what's going on inside here. So something in me wants to read this poem again. I hope that, because I don't know if I'm going to, so I hope that it was received in the light that it should have been, and if not, there's always next week. And it only gets better just with this and just in general. And hold on to that thought. It always gets better. Nothing is coming against you, always working in your benefit. And always character building. We're always building character, always transcending into the next version of ourselves, or not, depending on the perspective. So I'll leave that for you guys to mull over and sift, let it marinate, get your spiritual juices flowing and things of that nature. And until next time, of course, stay great, be blessed, channel the goodness within and let it pour from without, and let the goodness ring true. And of course, peace and salutations. You've been live.